Almost every AI program starts the same way. A whiteboard covered in ideas, 20 use cases, everyone's favorite, and a budget that can fund maybe 3. Here's the shift that separates programs that ship from programs that stall. You don't find the one great AI use case. You score a list and build a portfolio. Back in video 1, we mapped the AI lifecycle. Discover, prioritize, pilot, productionize, scale. Today, we open the step everyone rushes past. Prioritize. And I'll give you a scorecard you could run in a spreadsheet this afternoon. Let's name the trap first. When there's no scoring method, use cases get chosen one of 3 bad ways. By whoever's loudest in the room, by whoever's highest paid, the executive's pet idea, or by whatever's newest, the thing that demoed well last week. None of those 3 has anything to do with return on investment. And that's how a company ends up building an impressive assistant nobody uses, while the boring workflow that actually costs millions sits untouched. Why does prioritization deserve a whole video? Because value in an AI portfolio is concentrated. A handful of use cases tend to carry most of the return, and a long tail returns almost nothing. If you spread your budget evenly across the wish list, you fund the tail and starve the winners. Prioritization is the cheapest, highest leverage decision in the whole program. It happens before you spend anything, and it decides whether the spending was worth it. So here's the reframe. Stop asking, what's our best AI idea? Start asking, what's our portfolio? A portfolio has a shape. A couple of quick wins to build momentum and prove value, 1 or 2 bigger bets that move a real number, and a clear not now pile you can defend when someone's favorite idea gets parked. The scorecard we're about to build is how you get from a flat list to that shape, objectively and on paper, before the politics start. Before you can score anything, you need a good list. And most lists are bad because they're generated the wrong way. Don't brainstorm tools. Mine workflows. Walk a real process end to end and mark every step that's repetitive, text-heavy, judgment-light, and slow. Those steps are candidate use cases. That's where the return hides, in the boring middle of a workflow, not in the flashy tool at the edge. A quick test for each candidate: can you finish this sentence? Today, a person spends time doing blank, and if AI helped, blank would go up or down. If you can't finish it, it's not a use case yet. It's a vibe. Now the centerpiece. Every candidate gets scored on 5 factors, 1 to 5 each. Business value. If this works, how big is the prize? In hours, dollars, or risk reduced? This one carries the most weight. Feasibility. How hard is it to actually build and run? Honestly. Data readiness. Does the data exist? Is it clean? And are you allowed to use it? Adoption fit. Will it live inside the tool people already use, or in a separate window they'll ignore? Risk exposure. Compliance, privacy, and harm if it's wrong. High risk lowers the score. Roll those into one number. I weight value the heaviest, feasibility, data, and adoption next, and subtract for risk, and you get an ROI Fit Score out of 100. Same math for every idea. Suddenly, the loudest voice in the room doesn't win. The highest score does. Let's sharpen the 2 factors people fake the most. Value has to be measurable, not adjectives. Improves customer experience scores low. You can't bank it. Cuts average handle time by 2 minutes across 40,000 calls a month scores high. If you can't attach it to a number a finance person recognizes, it's not a 5. This is the same discipline that kills half of all pilots. No metric, no future. Feasibility has to be honest. Rate the version you'd actually ship, integrated and governed, not the demo. A thing that's easy to prototype and brutal to productionize is a low feasibility score, not a high one. The next two factors are where good-looking ideas quietly die. Data readiness. The demo ran on 10 clean documents. Production runs on 10,000 messy ones, in 3 systems, behind permissions nobody's mapped. If the data isn't there, or you're not allowed to touch it, no model saves you. Adoption fit. If the assistant lives in a separate tab, people won't leave the tool they already use to go find it. Adoption dies from an extra click, not a bad answer. So I add 2 kill rules. If data readiness scores a 1, it's on hold until you fix the data, no matter how exciting it is. If adoption fit scores a 1, it goes back for a workflow redesign. A high score can't buy its way past a 1 on either of these. Fifth factor, risk. And risk behaves differently from the others. The first 4 add to the score. Risk subtracts. A use case touching regulated decisions, credit, health, hiring, safety, carries real exposure if it's wrong, so it loses points. But notice, risk is a penalty, not a veto. High-value, high-risk use cases don't get deleted. They get sequenced later, with governance designed in from the start. The score tells you when to build it, not just whether. Now, the full scorecard is the real tool. But before you fill it in for 20 ideas, there's a quick filter worth 30 seconds. Plot every idea on a simple 2x2. Business value on one axis, feasibility on the other. High value and high feasibility? Do it now. Low value, low feasibility? Drop it. The 2 mixed corners are where judgment lives. That's it. That's the triage. It's a great first cut and a great whiteboard tool. I've got a dedicated short that lives entirely on that 2x2, so here we'll use it just to thin the herd, then run the survivors through the full 5-factor score. Put it together and you get a repeatable pipeline. Same pipeline every time. Mine the workflows to get candidates, run the quick 2x2 to drop the obvious losers, score the survivors on all 5 factors, apply the kill rules, sort by ROI Fit Score, and drop the results into 4 lanes: now, next, later, and no. The output isn't a favorite. It's a ranked, defensible portfolio with a paper trail for why each idea landed where it did. Let's run it for real. Meridian Insurance, a fictional mid-size carrier, put 6 candidates on the board. Claims intake triage, fraud signal flagging, an underwriting policy Q&A assistant, agent-facing policy document search, marketing copy generation, and customer email drafting. 6 reasonable ideas. On the shiny list method, the fraud one wins because it sounds the most impressive. Watch what the scorecard says instead. Here's how they score. Policy document search tops the list. High value, high feasibility, data's already there, and it drops straight into the tool agents use all day. That's a now. Claims intake triage is high value, but medium data readiness, so it's a strong next. Worth it after a data cleanup. Fraud flagging, the impressive one, scores as later. Real value, but heavy risk and messy data mean it needs governance and groundwork first, not your first build. Marketing copy is easy and low risk, but low value, so it's a small next at best. And customer email drafting hits the adoption kill rule. It'd sit outside the agent's core system, so it's a no until the workflow changes. Same 6 ideas, completely different plan than the whiteboard would have given you. That's the scorecard earning its keep. One honest section, because the scorecard has failure modes too. The biggest is false precision. A number to 2 decimal places feels objective, but the inputs are still estimates. Treat the score as a conversation starter that ranks, not a verdict. If 2 use cases are 3 points apart, that's a tie. Use judgment. Second, gaming. If one team owns the scoring, they'll inflate their own ideas. Score as a cross-functional group. business, data, and risk in the same room. And third, rescore quarterly. Data readiness and feasibility change fast. Last quarter's later can become this quarter's now. So how do you know your prioritization was any good? You measure it. Track your hit rate. Of the use cases you scored now, how many actually reached production and moved their metric? Track your kill rate. How many weak ideas you stopped early and cheaply before they burned a budget? And track time to first value. How fast the top-ranked use case delivered something real. A good prioritization process shows up as a rising hit rate and a healthy kill rate. If everything you greenlit shipped, you probably weren't ambitious enough, or you weren't honest in the scoring. 5 takeaways. 1. Don't pick a favorite. Score a list and build a portfolio. 2. Mine workflows for candidates. If you can't name the metric, it's not a use case yet. 3. Score 5 factors: value, feasibility, data readiness, adoption, and subtract for risk. 4. Data and adoption get kill rules. A high score can't bypass a 1. 5. Rescore quarterly and treat the number as a ranking, not a verdict. So here's your exercise. Comment with one business process you know well: claims, onboarding, procurement, whatever it is, and I'll suggest the AI use cases hiding inside it and roughly where they'd land on the scorecard. Next up, we take the top-ranked idea from today, a knowledge assistant, and actually design it end to end. Follow for practical AI system design.